so badass.
All right, guys, welcome back to the channel, CCW Fox. If you can give me a like and subscribe, I greatly appreciate it. I'm make other videos, but first, let me introduce you to Mike Andrews. Today, reviewing his 1968 F100. If you stay at the end of the video, I'm gonna do a small montage of how the project started to where it ended, kind of like a middle process, just in photos. But first of all, if you don't know who Mike Andrews is, San Antonio legend, built multiple cars, done different kinds of projects, and I'm pretty sure you raced him and got beat by him. Don't get mad. I raced him 25 years ago.
Allegedly, back in the day.
It did not turn out good.
Mexico. We were in Mexico when we raced.
We went to go travel, tried a couple Coronas.
Yeah, had a little fun.
I looked pretty dumb, and I thought I was fast. But let's get to this review, and I'm gonna get on it, and we'll introduce his 1968. All right, Mike. So let's start off. How did you get into this project? What made you want to do an old 68 truck?
Well, I've always wanted an old truck. I've had probably, God, in my lifetime, probably 20 Fox bodies at a minimum. Raced them, enjoyed them, and just, you know, as life goes on, kids graduate, college, and this, that, and the other, I was like, you know what, I kind of want an old truck. So I started looking for a old truck, and I actually found this truck out of Dallas. Buddy of mine, Gumby, who actually built this truck, Texas Speed Lab, built the truck, and we're talking about it. He said, hey man, there's a truck out of Dallas, go check it out. So I went to go check it out. When I got to the shop, the truck was in pieces. The cab was on one side of the shop, the bed was on the other side of the shop, the frame was on the other side of the shop. But the good thing about it was I was able to look at the truck and make sure there was no rust everywhere. Because on these old trucks, that's the main thing that kills them is rust. And this one was rust free. I mean, it had surface rust, but it looked, you know, there was no big rust problems at all. And that's what attracted me to the truck.
Rust to rust, amen.
So as far as the outside, what exactly did you change on the outside? What's been changed?
So on the outside of the truck, pretty much nothing. I mean, it's pretty much a stock 1968 F100. The patina, I love the patina. I always get asked the question, are you ever going to paint it? And I'm always like, hell no. I love the way it looks. I can take this truck anywhere. I'm not worried about it getting door dinged or scratched. And, you know, it's just a fun old truck. I mean, like I said, you can take this truck anywhere and don't have to worry about anybody scratching it. And if you're in a new truck and you put your door into my door, I guarantee you that steel door is going to put a dent in your aluminum door all day long.
Now, but the patina, the old school patina makes it just look like a classic.
Yeah, and the thing about it is with this truck, it looks like an old school truck, but everything under it is modern. I mean, it's got a Gen 3 Coyote motor in it. It's got a 10R80. The rear end is an IRS out of a 2015 Mustang, so it's got independent suspension all the way around. The front end is a Crown Vic front end on it. It's got Viking coilovers all the way around. It's got big brakes all the way around. So the truck looks like an old truck, but it rides like a new truck. You can stick it in a turn at 90 miles an hour, and it's like nothing. It handles great, and that's what I really love about the truck.
You're that, guys. It's an IRS out of a 2015 Mustang GT. 10R80 Coyote swap. This has the heart of a new guy with the outside looks of an old guy. So it pretty much looks like us on the outside, but the inside, all new process things. What made you choose these wheels? What wheels are these, by the way? Anyway?
These are American Racing wheels, and Andrew Peterson, who sells the kit to do the rear end in it and the front end in it, to do the IRS and do the Crown Vic, I couldn't find wheels to fit because of the brakes. You know, so the 2015 Mustang brakes are big brakes. So these are actually the wheels that he had on his truck. So I called him and said, hey man, I can't find wheels. You know, what do you recommend? He's like, well, you know, American Racing. And I saw the wheels and I liked the wheels. I thought they were different. So they kind of reminded me of an FR500 wheel.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'll go with them.
As far as rear suspension, what'd you say? What kit?
So
what needs to go to?
So it's an Andrew Peterson kit. So you have to weld it in. I mean, there's a bunch of fabrication that goes along with it, but the kit gives you everything you need to put it in. And I highly recommend it. I mean, the handle on this truck and the ride on this truck is fantastic. I mean, you can't go wrong. And with the adjustable coilovers from Viking, you can set it up high, set up low. Everybody asks me, you're going to put bags on it, and I'm like, I like the way it sits. I like the stance of the truck. So no, I'm good with it.
And it makes it look, I like the tucked in, because if you look at the wheel, you can see how it's tucked in.
Yeah, it tucks nice underneath. We rolled the fenders a little bit. The fenders are rolled, but it really didn't need it. But I said if I ever want to go to a bigger wheel, like a 305, I wanted to have the room and not have the issue of it rubbing. So I went ahead and rolled the fenders in the back.
And as far as the spoiler, where'd you get the spoiler from? Because
so the spoiler,
it's a custom-made spoiler, right?
The spoiler came from, and I don't remember the guy's name. I'll find out. But a guy's on Facebook, and he sells spoilers for F100s. And I just thought it gave it a kind of a cool look to it.
Yeah, it makes it look more like...
It makes it more like a retro, like a race truck kind of feel to it.
That's a nice looking spoiler. And if you know, guys, you see the cap in the back, he moved the fuel to the back, because if you know these old trucks, the fuel tank is right here on the side, and that's...
Yeah, I wasn't taking a chance of I'm not a smoker, but I wasn't taking a chance of having that fuel tank behind me. So what we did was it's a 15-gallon aluminum fuel cell, which sits in the back of the truck underneath. I left the cap there because I like the way it looked, but yeah, it makes all the difference in the world. Plus, it helps out with your handling with that fuel being back behind.
Back.
Yeah.
Look, guys, I'll show you where you don't know these old school trucks. So the fuel is right here, and the gas tank was in the back of the truck.
Right behind the back seat.
Right behind the back seat. Back in the days, they didn't really care about how dangerous it was. Nowadays, you got to worry about it.
It fits right here. Let's go.
Yeah. It's just like, hey, if it takes fuel, that's all we need right there. All right, Mike, as far as interior, what exactly did you change, or what did you have to buy?
Okay, so the interior in the truck, what I wanted to have the retro look, like it looks like an old school interior. But in reality, it is a Dakota digital dash. So the dash is all digital. So when it comes on, it's a digital dash, but it looks old school because I love the old school look, and I didn't want to change that look. So it's all digital. Then with the, it's got a retro radio to it. So the radio looks old school, but it's actually on a Bluetooth. And then I did a vintage air because I don't know where y'all are from, but in Texas, when it's 108 degrees, it's no fun.
Yeah, you need AC.
You got to have AC.
As far as these seats, did you recover these seats, or these are the stock seats?
Stock seats, recovered them, but they still, they're still the old school. When you're driving around, you still bounce up and down on them. So yeah, it gives you that 1968 feel.
It looks good. And look, guys, he's keeping it old school Texas style. Got the gun in the back rack, got the gun rack.
You never know when, you're in Texas, see something on the side of the road you may want to shoot.
Yeah, you might see a 10-pointer, 8-pointer, you gotta just take them out real quick.
You never know. A little possum every now and then, never hurt anybody.
Yeah.
Yep, it's a dead possum.
But if you can see the interior, guys, it's a really clean interior. There's the AC I was talking about. He didn't just build the truck just to have look cool. He's trying to stay cool, not be looking cool.
Yeah.
But as far as the steering wheel and all that, that's all.
Everything, yeah. So the steering wheel is all original. The shifter was all original. That's one of the things that I love about Gumby and Texas Speed Lab. You tell them, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to keep it all original. He was able to get this original shifter column to work with a 10R80. So it's a 10R80, and it's got the original shifter column, steering wheel, original 68 steering wheel. This is the original steering wheel and column that came with the truck, and you put it in drive, and it goes to drive, and it shifts. And
are you able to downshift on a 10 auto?
Yes, if you put it in manual, and I haven't put it in yet, but it's got he's got it wired where I put a switch on it, and I can downshift and upshift like on a nitrous switch.
Oh, okay.
You can upshift and downshift on it. I just haven't put it in yet, but yeah, you can go to a manual shift and it'll shift manually.
As far as any stereo upgrades, I know you say you have the old school stereo, but did you any speakers, any amps?
It's got old school 6x9s behind the back seat, and it's got
Alpines. Are those Alpine 6x9s?
Hey, you know what it is? I'm old, so you gotta have a little Alpine bump in there, and then it's got a center Bose center speaker in the middle of where the old right there. You can't see it, but it's got a little center speaker in there. And the other thing I love about this truck is one of the things that really attractive is look. It's you don't have to slam. It it's just easy going.
Nah, it looks really good from the outside.
The nickname of the truck, like I said, is Bubba because it came from Dallas, Texas, and I figured somebody named Bubba's owned it at one time, so I named it after Bubba. So Bubba, if you're out there, hey, your truck still looks good. It still
Your truck
runs
looks good, Bubba. He got you. He took care of
I
it.
took
We
care
did
of
it for you. He left it there parked and broken to pieces, and he fixed it up for you.
So under the hood, you have a 2020 Coyote motor, Gen 3. We have a Boss intake, 10R80, so it's got a 10-speed in it. We've got I put the big brakes on it, put the Willwood brake cylinder, master cylinder.
As far as getting this motor to work in this truck, what exactly you have to do to get a Coyote engine into an old F100? Because I know it ain't just a simple drop-in.
Well, with the Crown Vic front end, because the Crown Vics were 4.6 motors, so it makes, and that's why a lot of people like to put the Crown Vic in. You get the disc brakes first of all, but with the kit, it just basically does bolt right in, you know.
But you have to get the Crown Vic front end, right?
You got to put a Crown Vic front end on it, yeah.
Now, to get a Crown Vic front end, do you have to weld that in? Is it just the whole K-member, all that?
It's almost like the old school K-member, and they make the kit where it basically bolts in. There's a little bit of welding, but basically it bolts in. So you basically take the cab off when you're building it, put the Coyote on it, and then just basically set it back down, you know.
Any other mods to get this truck in there? For the AC, do you have to, of course, drill into the firewall and do all that? Do you have to do anything else?
No, the Vintage Air makes the kit for this truck. Okay. So they make a kit for a Coyote. So it just basically was just, and I did the old school one where, you know, it's right there in the center.
Yeah.
And it just bolts right in. You can see how it fits. To me, it fit good. And I was like, you know what? I like the way it looked, like a little chrome on it. So
as far as exhaust, what else do you do exhaust?
It's got full length headers all the way out, and it's got 3-inch exhaust all the way out. Custom done by Gumby and Texas Speed Lab. They did the exhaust on it, so it's got 3-inch exhaust that goes out and comes out over the axles. Love it. It's got a Dynamax mufflers on it, so it's not too loud. When you get on it, you'll hear it later on. It gets really raspy. It sounds good. But when you're just driving, you know, there's nothing worse than you're driving a truck and it just drones you out because it's so damn loud. Yeah. You know, and I'm old, so I'd rather have it where it was nice and quiet. But when I get on it, I want everybody to hear it.
Other than of course, I see the cold air intake. Did you change it? Did you get into the actual engine? Did you change injectors? Build anything?
It's a stock motor, stock injectors. It made 468 at the rear wheels on the dyno.
Hear that, guys? 468. I'm also going to right here. I'm gonna clip it. I'm gonna put the dyno video, and you'll see it on the dyno. It pulls freaking hard.
Let's look and see what it did. It was tuned by Stupid Fast, Jason Herrera out of Houston. Jason's been tuning my cars for years, does a great job. And I'll let you know, it's tuned on 87 octane because I told him, I said, I want to tune it on 87 because if I'll get on the truck and I want to do a road trip and I get somewhere and there's no 93, then I wanted to be able to tune it on 87 because everybody has 87.
Yeah.
Made great power. That's the great thing about a Gen 3. You have 2 injectors per cylinder, so it allows you to make a lot more power with a less octane gas.
So you're making that good power on just 87 octane.
87 octane.
So what do you predict if you throw some 85? You think you'll pick up a good like 30?
I think it will probably break 5. It'll break 500.
And the way you can run the 85, guys, is because I don't know if you know, but these Gen 3s have DI, so they have direct injection. So under the intake, there's another set of fuel rails with higher pressure injectors. So these actual top injectors, I think they're only 17-pound injectors.
Correct.
So the bottom ones are ones that throw in most of the power. So you don't really need to upgrade that much to do 85 on these trucks. They would just make crazy power. And like I say, he already has the twin air motive 340s in the rear and the gas tank. So what's actually stopping you from doing 85? It's just
2 things. E85 is great if you're out racing the truck, and you know, if I was out street racing like back in the day, I'd be on E85. But you know, when you let E85 sit, it has a tendency to gum up the injectors and stuff. And sometimes my truck will sit for a week, or sometimes it'll be 2 weeks before I drive it. The weather's bad. I don't really drive it in bad weather. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to leave it on 93. And then I put the fuel system in it. It's got a big fuel system because originally I was either going to do a set of twin turbos or I was going to do, you know, a Whipple on it. After driving the truck and feeling how fast it is, I was like, yeah, this thing's fast enough. You know, I mean, picking up another 200 horsepower, it already lights the wheels up. So nah, I'm good. I mean, and the reliability is there now. So, you know, I just said, you know what, I'm happy with it.
As far as tuning, what did you use to tune it? Because computer wise, what is it on a?
So it was tuned by Jason over at Stupid Fast. And to be honest about it, he had a laptop. We put it on a dyno. And
so is it tuned by HP or is it tuned through HP?
Yeah, I think it's tuned through HP.
Okay. But for computer wise, what is it using, a four performance control pack, or is it?
Yeah, it has the 4 performance control pack. I decided to go with the 4 performance control pack because when I was talking to Jason, he's like, well, you can use the stock computer that came with it, but he goes, you have to turn a bunch of stuff off. He goes, man, it's just better to spend a little extra money, get the 4 performance pack, because that already has everything turned off that needs to be turned off, and it's so much easier to do. So yeah, it's a little pricey, but it's worth it.
And earlier you were telling me, so the whole truck's been rewired, right?
Yeah, it's got
the inside of the truck.
The whole wiring harness on this whole truck, lights, everything was done by the wiring harness is American wiring,
yeah,
and done by Gumby and them at Texas Speed Lab, and because I just didn't want any problems. You know, you're looking at wiring harness from 1968, which is 50 some odd years old. That's, you know, I didn't want to take no chances. So I'd rather just spend a little extra money. I did everything on this truck, as they said, we did it right. You know, it's a little pricey, but everything works. I've had the truck on the road for 2 years, had to have no problems. I drove it to Beaumont and back one time, doing 85, 90 miles an hour, and I was getting 20 miles a gallon.
I was gonna ask you, like, how's your mile per hour?
And let me tell you, that 10R80, you can't go wrong. And I'm a diehard stick guy. I mean, I've been driving cars, and no automatic. Let me tell you, that 10R80, when it shifts, it's crisp. I couldn't shift that fast, and I'm a old school speed shifter. You know, put it to the floor, pull the gears, and there's no way I could keep up with this thing the way it shifts. So I highly recommend doing a 10R80 because it's so crisp. And when you're on the highway cruising, it's like 900 RPM. You know.
As far as the suspension, going back to that, but how low do you think you dropped it? About how many inches?
It's probably at least 2.5 to 3 inches.
Yeah, because it looks low. I love how the wheels just stay like they're tucked in. And as far as the front brakes, what is this off again?
So those are Crown Vic. The brake size, I think I want to say it's a 12. I just upgraded the caliper.
Oh, okay.
So it's got big calipers on it, but it's just a Crown Vic upgraded caliper. And same thing with the back. I think they're 15s because the
back brakes actually look kind of bigger than the front.
Yeah, they are bigger than the front because I want to say they're either 15s, but they're just GT Mustang upgraded brakes.
And guys, here's a fuel cell. Let me get it. There's a fuel tank right there. You can see it real good right there. And you're saying you're running twin 340s, right?
Yeah, it's got twin 340s in it. So the fuel system is good for 12 to 1300 horsepower, but we only have one pump hooked up. So I disconnected one pump because there's no need, you know, I didn't need 2 pumps making, you know, 400 horsepower. So we just used one pump.
And as far as I remember you telling me earlier about the back bumper. So when you bought the truck, it didn't come with this back bumper.
So when I bought the truck, it didn't have a back bumper. And I watched a video of somebody wrecking, and I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and put a back bumper on it. So there's a salvage yard in Seguin. I forgot the name of it, but it's probably 4 or 5 acres of nothing but old school trucks, cars, whatever you want. And so I'm walking through there, and I see this bumper on this old truck, old F100, and it had Bernie on it, Bernie, Texas. I was like, Van Horn Ford, Bernie, Texas. I said, man, the patina on the bumper is excellent. It matches my truck. So let's go. So I bought it. It took 3 of us to carry that damn bumper. That bumper is heavy as hell.
It's a hard A. Back in the day, they made them out of real steel.
You reared me, I guarantee you I'm going to win. I'm going to win. I'm going to get out my truck and look at your whole car smashed, and I may have a scratch on it.
Guys, if you look at license plate, 68, gap you, because he's going to gap you.
Old school.
As far as taillights, are these just the
original taillights?
No LED taillights?
No, nothing to them. They're just the original taillights, original bulbs.
Do they make any LED?
Yeah, they make LED everything now on these trucks. They make the LED front headlights, the back, but I just like the old school look. So
Yeah.
I'd rather just keep it like that because they have the headlights with the ring in the middle of them. And
Yeah.
stuff. It looks cool, but I just wanted to keep this truck old school looking.
Are you,
Original.
the bed, do you plan to do any wood inserts? Or you leave it just like this?
This is what it is.
Looks good. As far as future plans, do you have any future plans? Is the truck to you perfect the way it is?
The truck's perfect to me. I mean, if anything, maybe I'd put a Whipple on it, but that would be like I hit the lottery and I ain't got, I got to spend money. I don't pay taxes on it, But other than that, I mean, to me, it's perfect. Rides perfect, runs perfect, AC, it's fast. To me, there's nothing else to do to the truck.
I bet so when you drive it, I bet you get a bunch of like thumbs up.
I do get a bunch of thumbs up. I always, when you stop and put gas in it, somebody will come up to me, man, my grandfather had a truck like this. My dad had a truck. We used to have one on the ranch, on the farm. And it's funny just sitting down talking to people and having conversations because an old F-100, if you're a Chevrolet guy or a Dodge guy, everybody likes an old truck. Like you may like Vets, you may like Camaros, you may like Mustangs. But when it comes to an old truck, you can be a C10 guy and be like, man, I really appreciate your truck. I really like an old Ford truck. Because it just, so many people had them back in the day. Everybody's grandfather had one on the ranch because, F-100 was the number one selling truck back in the day. And everybody had them. So they're classic and nostalgia. And everybody loves them.
Yeah, everybody just loves an old school truck. All right, guys, because I already know you're going to ask me, how's it sound? Go ahead and start it up, Mike. Yeah, that sounds good.
What I like about it is it's really quiet until you get on it, and then it opens up and it gets loud.